Planning a project is the most important part of the project. A good plan is a solid foundation for a successful project, and when there is no plan, projects often fail. So let's discuss project planning and project management, and key concepts such as work breakdown structure, critical path, and responsibility matrix. Before diving into project management, let's define what a project is. Project Management Institute definition of a project is: a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. Projects have the following characteristics: defined beginning and end, objectives and performance goals, use resources, and has a budget limit. A project is not a routine or repeated production. It is not an operation. Operations are repeatable, ongoing, functional, and measured in value. Projects are unique, finite, goal-oriented, and produce a unique product or unique service or unique result. And the key word here is unique. A project has a cost, scope, and time allocated for completion. What it means is that you could have a fast and cheap but poor quality project, or you can have a good quality and fast, but then it's very expensive. Also, you can have it inexpensive, good quality, but it will take longer to complete. Typically, it's a trade-off, and you can have two but not three at the same time. The job of a project manager is to find a good balance between triple constraints. Balance the project so that you have reasonable quality that satisfies customers' requirements at a competitive cost within a realistic time frame. Work breakdown structure is a fundamental tool in project management. It is a decomposition technique. Suppose you have a scope statement. So you take the scope and break it down into smaller and more manageable chunks. Work breakdown structure, WBS, can be represented in varieties of ways, including graphical, textual, or tabular views. The form of representation should be chosen based on the needs of the specific projects and the consumers of the information. WBS organizes and defines the total work of a project, and the lowest level of the work breakdown structure is a work package. When you define work package, it is always good to use deliverable names. Each package should have a cost and duration estimate. Each work item should be assigned to a person or group. And here is an example of a work breakdown structure in a tree form. Once you finish work breakdown structure, now it's time to sequence the activities. Network activity diagram represents task dependencies flow. It shows which current task or tasks must be completed before you can proceed to the next one. Network activity diagram also helps you to find the critical path. The critical path is the longest overall duration of all activities from the beginning to the end of the project. To determine the critical path, we need to complete work breakdown structure, assign dependencies between tasks, and define duration of each activity. In this example, the blue path takes 8 days, and the red path is an example of the critical path, and it takes 11 days, and it is the longest duration. Another useful thing to know about the critical path is that if any activity on that path is delayed, then the entire project will be delayed. Every project needs a team, and a RACI matrix is a convenient way to document it. RACI stands for R, responsible, the person assigned to do the work. A, accountable, the person who makes the final decision and owns it, for example, a manager. C, consulted, the person who has to be consulted before making decision or taking an action. I, informed, the person who needs to be informed about a decision or an action or the progress. Here's an example of RACI table. For the make framework, I listed people and phases of the project and then assigned the function of each individual. Now let's define the make project flow, each phase and key activities that take place during each phase. In the define phase, you will define the scope and the problem, determine project objectives and benefits, and create project charter. In measure phase, you will define the current process, validate measurements, system, and outputs, and then quantify process performance. In analyze phase, you will identify potential causes, investigate significance of causes, and focus on significant causes. In the improve phase, you will generate potential solutions, select the tools and techniques to solve it, and develop implementation plan. In the control phase, you will create control and monitoring plan. You will implement full-scale solution and finalize and close the project. In conclusions, project management is a larger discussion and it is not a part of this course. I covered key concepts that will be helpful to you if you're part of a team or just starting your own Lean Six Sigma initiative. If you'd like to learn more about project management, check out our other courses. I will add the links at the end of this section.